We set sail through the galactic cosmos to head off to the mystical light planet called the Nova, a planet alluded to all the way back once we met Kale the first time. Though some people, like Sorbet, are sad about returning home. Thankfully we have kings like Pico to cheer up our sad friend. Such a good guy, Pico. We finally have made it to the destination of the light planet, Nova, and hey! There's no way any character can fight a space trial like that, fiction or non-fiction. This guy's hacking, no doubt about it. Once we land, Sora reflected her knowledge of explaining that there should be a worm that should be out of the sun, like what happened in the ruins from Buffoon. Once we head west, we see our warp point closest to our ship, and right next to the warp point is Bear the Broker, who is our main shop for the area. He sells useful hero items and all that, and some really strong equipment as well, though at this point you should really be used to that by now. Once we're done with that, we head down and see crushed fruit people. Bet that wasn't on your bingo card. Right next to the crushed fruit is a secret chest containing a putty pea. These chests only spawn in daytime in the sun. Don't question it. Heading north will lead you off to a blocked off castle by these creatures called the Lumines. Don't worry about not getting access to this place, you'll get there later. After heading down, an explosion may occur, alarming the group. Interesting. By heading west towards the corner, you'll find several gummy frogs and a chest containing 5,500 bira. After heading down towards the east, you'll find more dancing fruit running away from that explosion. You even have a brownie that recounts what happened. A moment ago, an otter, an enigma, and a wizard went together to the east into the sun's navel. It's a cave. Its real name is Funnel Pit. They went there. I saw it. They seemed so menacing. Yeah, that's not good, huh? I mean, you guys sure are persistent. Well, that's that. And this is this. It just keeps going. Bars, dude. After heading east, you'll find a star ring in the alcove to the east, and after heading up the ramp, you'll encounter Grenadine and his 4 dwarf buddies. He mentioned that an ethereal station machine has been stolen, probably from the pirates, but we'll figure that out later. So they make haste to give Kale a piece of his mind, but up the incline is another warp point for you to get, and a chest containing 5 red frogs. Alright, before we step inside and confront the potential threat, let's talk about the enemies that we can potentially find while exploring. First, we have Jamari, the wood mage. His lads are just wood mages that typically hang in the back and use magic. You're also using Minty Freshes to boost the defenses, but when it needs to go on the offensive, it will start using an AoE version of Briar Patch. Pretty strong enemy. Next, we have the Wind User in the Manmu Rider. These are wind elementals without any sort of wind magic, only knowing one move and dive bomb. These guys are very unremarkable. No light planet will be complete without light-based enemies. This includes Marilyn, having 2 magic spells in Celestial Swap, to of course move the planets away from your favor, and Love Shower, to heal itself and its teammates. It also has a lot of HP, so either make it sick or target as much as possible. Next we have the Psycho Boxer. These little blue dudes are the physical attackers of the area, having only 2 attacks. First is Punching Bag, where the little gremlin throws out 3 gut punches. It looks like it hits you 3 times, but it actually doesn't. And Hypnosis, which really isn't a physical attack, but is magic, I guess. They're overall pretty simple. Finally, for the outside is the Masked Devil, and continuing the trends of random enemies holding random objects, this guy has a hammer, and has 2 attacks of the hammer, a standard slam attack and hammer slam, and a much more flashy move called Rising Hammer, where it knocks you up into the sky. Pretty tough foes, all things considered. Alright, so now we enter the inside and find ourselves in a long, narrow pathway straight to the center. We encounter some enemies like the Elder Dragon, for instance. He's quite the big fellow. Wait a minute, I feel like I've seen these guys before. Give me a minute. We're trying to get all the treasure. As for the enemies, try to find them all too, but don't worry if you can't find them. They'll show up later. We'll get to that. Oh yeah, I remember these guys. So these are where the Path of 5 organ enemies are now located. Granted, they're significantly weaker than they were in the cave because their HP never changes. So now you can get your special items if you haven't gotten it beforehand. There is one new enemy though, the Golden Bat. And just like the other bats, they're very obnoxious too. In the front, they are no problem. They'll always have the toothy chomp they're known for, but in the back, they will immediately use Blinding Light, which does small damage to everyone if you're not dark, but also blinds you and hits everybody. It's super annoying. The good thing about these guys is the fact that you can get gold circlets, which are really good for selling at the shop. Once we enter the furthest chamber, we find ourselves confronted with a huge hole, probably caused from the explosion from earlier. Kale and his league of demonic critters seem to have escaped yet again, not before leaving some pesky pirate otters for us to deal with. These guys are literally the same fight from outside of the Condiment Tower, even with the same 2 anchor and fishing pole items. Once you swiftly defeated those goons, Grand Eye explains the existence of the dark planet, called Shadra, one that lies within the sun. It's hard to explain, but just go with it. We have to go back to the castle and confront the Queen of the Lumines, so head all the way back because you can't really warp, and then find a whole load of ships in the sky. Once we actually get back to the castle, we still can't enter, but thankfully, King Gorgonzola and his loyal liege was sent for reinforcements to dig a hole straight underneath the castle. Can we just take a minute to appreciate this screenshot right here? I mean, the Lumini guards are just standing right there and we're just trying to break in. Either they're really that lazy or they're just begging for the universe to end. Kind of like this series is to you guys. Anyways, we enter the King's Road. The only thing to point out is the odd-looking X on the top of the map. We can't do anything about that yet, so let's take that old dirty bookmark that we used in part 10 and put it right here. We are now entered the Sparkling Palace, home of the Lumines. To progress through the plot, we need to talk to the Queen of the Lumines on the 2nd floor, but unfortunately, the Queen isn't there. Or is she? She's dead, but like her physical body in a sense. Like, it's like she's dead, but not actually dead. This whole series makes more sense if you don't understand the logic, okay? And the worst part, the rum is here. Oh, what's he gonna do? Make our lives worse? Probably will get in our way. Yeah, you better run, hi, you disgusting feeling. Gamlon's better anyways, coward. Okay, so now we have access to all the chambers in the area, and once we enter the bottom floor, we are treated to another puzzle. There are 7 chambers with 7 pods in each room, one corresponding to each element. There are 2 ways to figure out which room goes to each element. First is looking at the statues and see what each element represents. Wings are for the wind, flowers are for wood, a pot is for earth, a water jug for water, those 2 are hard to distinguish, a candle for fire, some light or a mirror of some kind for the light, and a skull for dark. The second way to look is at the corresponding colors of each element on top of the mirror. Yellow is for wind, green is for wood, blue is for water, brown is for earth, red for fire, white for light, and purple for dark. You may be wondering how to access the 7 elements when you only have 6 currently available. Well, if you interact with the machine at the center of the main room and enter the machine, you turn into a traveling putty. You can't leave this area, so go to the remaining light or dark chamber to finish off the puzzle. If you're curious about these weird visions you're seeing of Kale, it's just explaining his backstory. Wonder where you can hear about this. Shameless plug! Anyways, with all the chambers aligned, we see the lowest depths of the castle, react and open up the Starway. Head back to the center chamber, see your robot friend get satellised, damn it, I'm out of bookmarks for this, and enter the machine and leave like nothing has ever happened. Head to the doorway behind the machine and say it before you enter the ladder down before, because once you're healed up, surprise, we have a boss fight against the strongest fighter slash space police slash chicken man slash fly guy that doesn't fly, Beak Fowler. Beak Fowler is definitely one strong foe not to be taken lightly. He represents all the previous space police admins you faced. The speed of Fury, the strength of Muzzleflap, the craftiness and style of Damar, the defense and HP of Mudflap, and whatever the hell Mugwort had, all wrapped into one final space police battle. He's a dark mage, and unlike the last foe, he actually does have magic. Of course, Celestial Swap, where he tries to strike you down with the force of 5 planets aligned, and also tries to get rid of your buffs as well, of course. He also has Shadow Die. His main form of magic damage still can hit like a truck if you're not careful. He also can rely on the move called Dazzle Darts, a multi-hit move that can randomly attack your entire party for low damage, but can stack massive debuffs on you, and also has a 20% chance to curse. So be wary of that attack. The main threat is his deadly kit of physical attacks. His standard attack is called Rising Palm, though it can be easy to reflex guard once you got the timing down. If you miss, it can do quite a lot of damage. But his other attack, Lotus Barrage, is incredible. It's fast, hard to block, probably unblockable, looks painful, really good looking, does a ton of damage, and has a 25% chance to instantly kill you. You heard that one correctly. And since he moves twice in one turn, he has 2 chances to kill you with that move. Exactly 5% chance of the time he moves, he has a chance to kill you. However, defensive play is the key here. Timing your reflex guard will nullify this insta-kill nonsense, so I didn't have much time to reflex guard this attack. This match also depends if you're a light mage or a dark mage. If you're a light mage, you can either stay in the back for potential support with healing light, or do some decently strong damage with crystal light through the power of the sun. If you want to be riskier, you can go in the front with crystal laser that does quite a lot of damage to pop. He has 20,000 HP, so that could do a lot. It might be useful to end this fight as soon as possible. If you're a dark mage, it might be best to just go in the front and suck up damage like Pico and Mocha are doing. He also just seems to prioritize you a lot more frequently, and do as much damage with your own dazzled arts. As with the rest of the cast, Shy is your best friend with Parsley Walls for useful fiscal walls, and Minty Freshness for defensive spirit buffs. Lexi is used for healing as always, and everyone else is used for damage. Remember, the longer he's out, the more chances of him nailing you with an insta-kill attack. After around 20,000 HP is gone, Fowler is defeated and drops the hill boots. He leaves for now, and you can enter the Starway to the entrance to Shadra, the Dark Planet, but not before Fowler has one more trick up his sleeve. Since you still can't move during the teleportation, he plans to kill you right then and there. But before anything else, Farna does something, not Daram. What did you think? Daram was going to do something? But apparently he has even more tricks up his sleeve, because he plans to kamikaze himself in front of everyone in the room. This chicken is nuts. Before we can spell doom, someone shows up in the nick of time. And Daram dies. Oh. Yeah, Gamelon would have easily survived that if she was here, and gave us an egg character in the process before he went to the Dark Planet. Speaking of which, let's talk about that egg character. If you look up into the night sky, you'll find a star. With cute eyes, this, of course, Star, the light egg character. Yeah, it took a whole team to come up with that original name. Star is the light elemental egg character out of the 7 available. The method to obtain Star is actually quite different and differs from depending on which element you chose in the beginning of the game. If you started as a light mage, all you really need to do is max out all the tags in multiplayer. So get 100 different save into one file, then the egg should be gifted to you. Or if you're a dark mage, you have to avoid picking up any gummy frogs in your save file, which also includes picking them off the ground and not buying them from the store. From chests and from enemy drops is okay and won't be counted, similar to Magicalvacation. After you beat the light planet, head back to the Queen's Chamber into the Sparkling Palace and talk to the assistant, and he'll give you an egg once you return to the ship. Once you have the star in your party, it's very interesting. Its natural skill is Scar Gauge, which is an alternate version of Celestial Swap, though it also uses your HP as well as MP. Its level 50 spell move is called Luminous Egg, a move that has the chance to increase any random stat, though it does have a 20% chance of working. Its field ability is the main package though, reducing the likelihood of enemies showing up to fight you, making backtracking through areas much more manageable. Is this character worth 100 tags? No, not really, but hey, it is a pretty star.